Hello and welcome to the latest installment of our trim level comparison video series. I'm Daniel Zent. I'm here with Bob Smith Motors in Billings, Montana. And this series is one in which we take a look at the different trim levels between the different models within the different makes here at Bob Smith Motors. So today we are going to take a look at the trim levels in the Mitsubishi Lancer. And we're going to compare the differences between the ES, SE, SEL, and GT trim levels on the Lancer. So let's get started with our base model, our Mitsubishi Lancer ES. Alright, so as I mentioned, the Mitsubishi Lancer's base trim level is this ES, which means it is pretty stripped down, not a lot of fancy bells and whistles, but let's take a look at what it does have. First off, of course, we can see we do have 16-inch steel wheels, and right in front of that we have auto-off halogen headlights. This is also a front-wheel drive Lancer on the ES model with available manual or automatic transmissions. This one happens to be the continuously variable automatic transmission. Okay, so now we can move to the interior of this 2015 Lancer ES. Now I will mention real quick here that we're going to be looking at 15s and 16s for the Lancer models, but the trim levels between the 15 to the 16 are pretty much identical as far as features and options added onto each level go, so it's not going to affect what we're doing here. So as we look here, even on the base level, we do still have our steering wheel controls. We've got pretty much the same gauge cluster up above. We do have a monochromatic display up there that's going to display different trip odometers, fuel economy levels, that sort of thing. Okay, we do also have power locks, power windows, power side mirrors. The front seats are manually adjustable in the ES trim level. This interior happens to be the lighter beige color. There are two options. There's a black and a beige, both in the cloth interior in the ES. As we move up to the stereo unit in the center of the dash here, again, very stripped down, very basic AM/FM radio, CD player. We do have an auxiliary input down below. We have manual climate controls for heating and our air conditioning. As I mentioned before, this is the CVT, continuously variable transmission. It's an automatic transmission. We do have a 12-volt outlet. We can see our auxiliary input down below there. We do still have some storage space and another 12-volt outlet. And our back seat on our Lancer is pretty much the same from one trim level to the next. The back seat does fold down in a 60-40 split to give you some extra room in your trunk area. And with the ES trim level, we have a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine that is going to have us looking at 26 miles to the gallon in the city and 34 on the highway. Okay, and before we move on, I should mention that all of the trim levels of the Mitsubishi Lancer do come with the same 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Now, it's worth mentioning really quickly here that there is sort of an alternate version to the Lancer ES, and that's the ES 2.4. There are a few little differences. First off, we move from a 2.0 to a 2.4 liter engine, so we have a little bit more power there. It's also not available in a manual transmission. It only comes in the continuously variable automatic transmission. We do add LED running headlights, and the biggest difference is that we add Mitsubishi's all-wheel control. So we go from front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive. That said, let's move up to the next level, the Mitsubishi Lancer SE. Alright, now on the Lancer SE, we start off with a couple of exterior differences. Similar to the ES 2.4, we do have the LED running headlights. We've got a little bit of chrome here around the front grille, which actually looks really nice. And then we still have 16-inch wheels, but we do have the two-toned alloy wheels as opposed to the steel wheels on the ES. Okay, now the rest of our upgrades, I guess, the rest of our added features from the ES to the SE 2.4 are here in the interior. Not a lot of changes, but there are some really good things added. We do still have the same steering wheel controls. Up above, you can see one of our first differences here. Instead of the monochromatic display showing you your information there in the center of the gauge cluster, we do have a multicolor display, so a little bit nicer there, a little bit improvement. Our stereo unit here in the center has definitely been upgraded. We have a 6.1 inch touchscreen display. We've got AM FM stereo still, CD player. We do have Sirius XM radio now available, and we are now Bluetooth compatible, which is a big step up. We do still have manual climate controls, and we only have the automatic transmission available. The SE does not come with a manual transmission. It only comes with the continuously variable automatic transmission. Possibly the biggest difference here from the ES, at least the ES 2.0, to the SE 2.4 is that we do have Mitsubishi's all-wheel control. It's their all-wheel drive system. It's actually a really good all-wheel drive system. And we do still have the cloth interior on the SE trim level, and it is available in the black and the beige, same colorways. But in addition to that interior is that the front seats are heated, and that's always a nice bonus. Now, of course, there are all kinds of features and options that you can add on in packages and that sort of thing to all the trim levels of the Lancer. But those are the standard features on the SE trim level that are not standard on the ES. So let's go one more step up and take a look at the SEL. Okay, now today out on the lot I actually do not have a Lancer SEL, so I'm going to just keep this SE here, and we're going to point out the three biggest differences I think that are added onto the SEL as standard features. And those are the automatic on-off headlights, which is always handy. If you have them for too long and then you get in a car that doesn't have them, you forget to turn your headlights on. We also have leather interior, comes in a black color only, and you can't get cloth. SEL comes with black leather interior. And then we also have the auto-dimming rear view mirror, which driving down the highway at night is definitely a nice touch. Let's take a look at what we add on for the GT. Okay, again, I apologize. I do not have a GT model here on the lot, so we're going to make do. We're going to point out some of the biggest differences. Personally, I think the GT is a little bit sportier mode. One of the biggest differences is that it does not come with the all-wheel control. It is front-wheel drive, kind of like the ES. It is available, however, in the manual transmission or the automatic continuously variable transmission, and it does have the flappy paddle shifters on the steering column. We also upgrade to 18-inch two-tone alloy wheels as opposed to the 16-inch that is on all of the levels below it, and we upgrade to the Rockford Fosgate premium sound system. Now on the back of the vehicle, were this a GT, we would have what I call spoiler alert. We do have a spoiler on the back end, and up on the roof we have our power sunroof, which I'm a big fan of. It's one of my favorite features on any vehicle, really. And finishing out what I believe are the biggest additions of standard features on the GT that are not standard below the GT are the rain-sensing windshield wipers. And I think that's going to do it for this time around on this trim level comparison for the Mitsubishi Lancer. Again, we've got a few different trim levels. We've got ES, SE, SEL, and GT. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of the differences, what is standard on certain trim levels, what you add on if you go up a level, that sort of thing. Again, as always, I am Daniel Zent with Bob Smith Motors in Billings, Montana, and we'll see you next time.